He switched up fast from his original plans for the Kings' elite wing defender Keon Ellis, and it is paying off in dividends, as we saw last night. And other players in the Kings are now unlocking their confidence with how this roster is looking, and frankly, this is really, really encouraging, really, really exciting for this Kings roster, because again, the team just beat a couple bottom feeders in the Utah Jazz, as well as the Portland Trailblazers, but what we're seeing out there on the court and what we're seeing the changes from Mike Brown have a very, very encouraging sign for this team moving forward into the season. So we're going to break down what changes have been made, why Mike Brown switched up very fast, and frankly, how the Kings are looking over the last stretch of games, because things are on the up and up in Sacramento. So lots of stuff to break down. Before we do, folks, again, if you want to be on this ride, be on this journey in covering Kings basketball, hit that subscribe button. Over 84% of our viewers haven't hit the sub button just yet, and we want to keep you up to date with everything that's going on with the Sacramento Kings team. And frankly, this is an exciting team to watch. This is a very, very positive moment in Kings basketball, because again, you might look at this and say, hey, Ben, why do you care? They beat the Blazers, they beat the Jazz, two not great teams in the West. Well, one thing about Sacramento that was a big criticism, was a big topic of discussion last season, the Kings are a talented roster. Really great squad, but they'd often drop a lot of games that they should be winning, right? They, should be squashing some of these bottom feeder teams, and they just really couldn't, put their foot on their necks and close out these games, even though they compete with some better teams out there in the West, the Eastern Conference. So, to have two big wins here, it's a huge positive. But really, the narrative, the exciting thing about this is that Mike Brown is making those adjustments, making some changes, because again, he is a guy that, it's easy, he's an easy scapegoat for Kings fans, for any fans, right? The head coach of your team, and Mike Brown is always trying some interesting stuff. And, obviously the one that received a lot of criticism, for myself included, was benching Keon Ellis in that LA Lakers game. And the way we saw Keon Ellis play last night, it feels like that would have been a solid win for Sacramento if Keon Ellis did get some opportunity to run, to get out there on the court for the Kings in that game. But Mike Brown has essentially, been trying to manage all these different personalities, these different a lot of wing players that are in the rotation, and he switched up from his approach with Keon Ellis, with benching him in that second game of the season very, very fast. And he came out with a quote and talked about it, saying that he's just trying to find minutes for Keon Ellis, and has been a little bit tough, but that's what he gets paid to do, and he'll figure it out. And he was tremendous tonight. He is one of the best young defenders that I've ever coached, and I love this from Mike Brown. You can hate on his decisions, you can bash the stuff that he's doing, but when he comes out and he acknowledges, these players, and is, making these superlative comments, which honestly, I don't think it's a stretch, watching the eye test last night's game about Keon Ellis being one of the best young defenders Mike Brown's had on any of his rosters, because again, Ellis just brings another dimension to this team. It's not only, scoring, he's not putting up a ton of numbers, right? 17 minutes, had 5 points, did have a crazy Kobe-esque mid-range jump shot, which is wild to see, but the 5 points is whatever, but had 4 rebounds in the game, had 2 assists, 2 steals, as well as 3 blocks in last night's outing, and the box score doesn't do the defensive justice, and 2 steals, 3 blocks, that's pretty good defense. Watching this man just hound the other guards out there, the other wing players out there on that Utah Jazz team, it was a pleasure, it was a joy to watch, and someone that loves, just good defensive effort, good defensive plays, Keon Ellis brings it every single night, and brings a different dimension to this Kings roster, because again, DeMar DeRozan, elite scorer. De'Aaron Fox, elite scorer. Malik Monk, elite scorer. Kevin Huerter, when he's rolling, is an elite scorer out there in the league. And obviously Sabonis is an elite bucket getter when he wants to be. He can do everything out there on the court. But really, the dimension in Keegan Murray when he's rolling. I don't want to leave any of the scorers out for this Kings team. But when the team is rolling right, offense is zero issue for this team. Mike Brown's really put together a solid defense squad, gotten the most out of this group. But Keon Ellis has those defensive talents that really can't be understated, and brings a different dimension, a different set of skills to this team. It's why a bunch of people have called for him to be the starter on this roster, on this group. And, in terms of his stats, you might be like, oh, that's crazy, right? 3.3 points this season, 3 rebounds, again, unlimited minutes, 1 game barely playing. But he did shoot 41% from the 3-point line last year, only 25% right now. But that is what it is. It's not a high volume, not a high sample size at this point here. But so far this season, even in limited minutes, 1.3 blocks per night and 1.7 steals. It's, defensively just brings a completely different space approach, feel to this game that Sacramento can definitely use. And regardless, again, the jury's still out whether or not he should be a starter, whether he should be a bench player, but he can't be a guy that's coach's decision DNPs. You got to figure out a way to get him on the court. And last night, put on a defensive masterclass with the Utah Jazz. So I'm very, very happy that Coach Brown switched up. But it didn't come at the detriment of a guy like Kevin Huerter, who is playing with some serious confidence right now. And I know he's kind of the guy that, some fans are split on with Keon. Hey, he gets benched and Keon starts and stuff. But we can have our cake and eat it too, as we did last night, because Kevin Huerter, Red Velvet is coming out here and looking good. And again, it's not the most insane stat lines, right? It's not, a 40 piece or something. He had 14 points, 5 rebounds and all that, but 2-5 from the 3-point line, 6-9 from the field. And all Kings fans are asking for from Kevin Huerter is just be confident. Be confident in that jump shot. Be confident in the scoring ability. Because, again, a couple seasons ago when Kevin Huerter was playing with that elite level confidence, every game wouldn't be the most efficient night. Every game wouldn't be, just a game-changing performance from Kevin Huerter. But what would happen out there on the court is there'd be another dimension out there in terms of scoring, in terms of just options for the team on every single night. And they couldn't sort of, reliably just count him out and, look at him as wallpaper out there for your specific team. Kevin Huerter would just have an impact. And frankly, even though, again, only 9 shots, didn't have, was the tied for the lowest score out there in terms of the Kings starting lineup, his impact was certainly felt, because we know what we're going to get. And I feel like on these videos, I don't give the justice to a Sabonis, to a DeRozan, to a Fox, because every single night we know that those guys are going to be able to put up buckets, be able to put up points. This is the top-heavy roster. This team is very elite in regards to their ability, to get things rolling out there on that front. But it's, these other guys, the bench, the Keegan Murrays of the world, the Huerters, the Keon Ellis, that are going to be the make-or-break players for this Kings roster over the course of the season. And that's why so much scrutiny, so much stuff is put on Mike Brown. Because, again, it's not like there's 10 deep guys that are guaranteed going to be playing elite basketball for this Kings roster just looking at it. There's guys that can, but they have to be unlocked, put in positions by their coach to really be at that level. And that's what the Kings need to... We're probably... Well, I don't want to speak too soon because the Kings lost a lot of these games last season. But if we're going to beat, the LA Lakers, the Minnesota Timberwolves, the teams that we've lost to already over the course of the season, then other guys are going to have to step up, and it's going to be on Mike Brown to really navigate and make the right decisions and put people in the right position to succeed. And again, for all the criticism, if you want to criticize, do it, right? Be in the comment section, talk about it. That's what I like to see. I'll be out here on videos criticizing. But when Mike Brown makes an adjustment, makes a change, and makes the right quotes out there for this team that's helping unlock these different players, then you have to give him his praise too. And I thought he did a good job switching up from that coach's decision DNP. And now we have both Keon Ellis, again, we're seeing it, 1.3 blocks, 1.7 steals, and Huerter also looking confident as well this season. 12 points per game, 3 rebounds, shooting 42% from the 3-point line, despite coming back from injury, despite shaking off some rust. So basically, I'm loving what's going on with Sacramento right now. It's going to be fun as the more competitive teams start coming into play, but we'll see. We'll cover it all here on Kings Digest, so make sure you guys hit that subscribe button. Anyways, I'm signing out.